Yo, what up? How's it going? And welcome back for another video. The first video of the new year. We'll be breaking down patch 12.1 of TFT Set 6. Now this is the first patch in a month. God bless. We are done with the month-long patch, whether you liked it or not. I hardly played last patch, but I've been keeping up with the meta by watching other people play. I don't enjoy legendary metas. So let's just see how this shakes up a bit. I have looked through these notes already and watched Mort Dog's video. If you guys prefer to hear the dev side of this stuff, then please go watch Mort Dog. But if you want to hear my opinions as someone who's been a high level player for a long time and makes educational content for you guys, then let's get into it. All right, there are a lot of changes on this patch. First thing we're going to get through is they have changed the units that you get from if you get a trait-based augment. As you guys know, I think it was changed 2 patches ago. You get a unit with your trait, and they've just changed it to try to make them all kind of more equal. Because, like, for example, you could get an echo. You know, like get an echo from scrap, and then if you take twin shot, you would get graves, which is like, what? Like the difference in gold and just unit value is hilarious. So they're trying to make them a little bit more normal. So you guys can just look through this on your own, but just notable ones like Warwick is going to Quinn. Not sure why they're doing that, other than that Quinn is just a superior unit. So that's cool. Just as like a general unit. Protector Heart no longer grants a Blitzcrank. That's pretty notable. Scholar Heart, now they're basically all now 2 cost. The ones that were 3 cost are now 2 cost, which makes a lot of sense. Oh, they're changing the Zac to Warwick on Chemtech. That's why they're doing that. Okay, that makes sense. Cool. Graves goes to Kog'Maw. Twin Shot Heart's gonna be a lot better now for sure. And I think Kog'Maw 1 is getting buffed, so that's good. Echo is going to Talon. That's actually pretty decent. Talon's a beast. What's the other one? And then Imperial was going from Talon to Swain, which sucks for Imperial because Talon is the best early game unit. Honestly, like it's just a solo unit. He's probably the best early game unit. Okay, cool. You guys can look through these and see which ones are important to you. But those are some notable ones. Okay, Ardent Center Enchanter bonus. Attack speed's gone up by 10%. Okay, here's the deal. What you're going to see in a lot of these patch notes are going to be things that benefit longer fights, except for Ascension, because Ascension was broken. You're going to see a lot of things that benefits longer fights and they're buffing them. It's because the current meta that we're on, and I'm not sure if a lot of these things need to be buffed, and I'm probably going to talk about this a lot, but let me just get it out of the way up front, is a lot of these things are going to be buffing. I'm not sure if it's actually weak, if it's not just a byproduct of the meta being the way it was. And in legendary metas, I say the game is fast. The game itself plays out slow, but the actual combat late game is really fast because legendaries kill units very quickly. Kaiser kills your entire board in two casts. Akali kills your entire board, like your entire backline in 2 casts, like cast 1 time and then for the execute. So like in this meta where there's a lot of legendary units, the fights are a lot quicker. So a lot of these things like Ardent Censor and stuff like that, and a lot of the units that you'll see getting buffed, especially Imperials, they don't benefit from a very fast combat. They take a little bit more time to ramp. So all of those things are getting buffed, and so I'm thinking there might be a slow meta coming up because they're buffing all of the stuff for slower combat comps, and so we'll get into that here. But just wanted to get ahead of that and say they are changing a lot of stuff to making the combat a lot slower. So even when you're just seeing an Ardent Sensor like, okay, 10%, that's not going to usher in a new meta or anything like that. Just look at the changes they're making to like a lot of the Scholars, or like to Heimerdinger, a lot of the 3 costs, a lot of units that take a little bit more time to get the fight going. And you'll see that there might be a slow meta on the horizon. So just be looking out for that. I love slow metas. I hate fast metas. I hate fast combats. I think it's so boring. Anyways, all right. Cool. Ascension is getting nerfed. God bless. I mean, on this patch, on the end of the patch, Ascension hasn't felt like crazy broken or anything like that, like it did the previous patch. Like later on in this patch, because again, the combat is pretty quick. Like the fight's pretty decided the first 10 seconds of the fight because of all the legendaries that is in everyone's comp at stage, stage 4 even. Anyways, because how everyone's playing. All right, Cybernetic Implants, bonus health equipped is going down at all tiers, it looks like. That's fine. Cybernetics is very strong, and it must be performing really well in the data, especially early game. Okay, Duet bonus is going down. I figured this would get nerfed. You know, you might look at this and be like, Duet, I never take Duet. Duet sucks. But just think about it. If you get this early game and you actually have a Taric, that is 1,000 extra health to your board, which is a lot of health. Just think about it. That Woodland Charm is a prismatic, and it gives you 1,600. So you're getting 1,000 health added to your board, and this one is 60. So just think about that. I mean, obviously there's more to this because there's a unit, but again, this is a gray tier. Anyways, all right. Lifelong learning. God Bless are changing this, so now not properly. Now grants 2 ability power after each combat, and additional 2 combat if they survive combat, or additional 2 ability power if they survive combat. That's very good. This lifelong learning is so hard to run because like you take it and you're down an augment. And so it's hard to win rounds. And then a lot of times you're playing Yordles, so you're losing, early game, So it's pretty tough. So I'm a big fan of this change. Basically, when I took this before, the only time I generated ability power in the early game was on the PvE rounds, where I fought somebody who was opening. All right, makeshift armor is getting buffed at all tiers. I don't mind this. I already think it's actually fine. The problem with makeshift is taking it early game. You don't get a lot of value because of... you don't have many units. So if you have 3 units and you need to slam your items, so you have 5 units, you need to slam your items, so maybe 2 of them have items on them, so you're only getting value off of 3 people. And you don't want to use tank items, so but I do like taking makeshift armor if I don't know what to take, because a lot of times I can just only build backline items and kind of feel good about it. So that's cool here too as well. Also benefits a slower meta. Okay, Portable Forge, Death's Defiance now grants 20% Omnivamp. So that's a buff to just that item specifically. And it kind of makes it a little bit closer to like how you think Death's Dance should work. I know Death's Dance or Death's Defiance has changed a lot in League, but like when I played League, like it granted Omnivamp. So so that feels like more natural. And the item actually feels decent now. So cool, I like the change to that. Spellblade, empowered attack ability power scaling. After casting 200% to 225%. This is a trait that is really hard to use, the Spellblade. And I'm curious if it's actually good or not. And when I watched Mortdog's video, when they were breaking this down, they talked about this too. They're like, it might actually be good. Who knows? Because no one plays this build and it's so niche. But if you like Spellblade, maybe give it a try next patch. And especially I think the meta might be a little bit slower next patch. So, or at least the combat. Okay, Stand United is getting nerfed at 1 and 2. Not sure if it needs to be nerfed at 2nd tier, but definitely on the 1st tier, it definitely needs to be nerfed. That thing is crazy good in comparison to the value of the other great tiers, so I'm down with that. And if they want to nerf the 2nd tier, that's fine, I guess. But just to give you guys, just to tell you how strong this is at 3, is that now at gold tier it's 3. So it was at gold tier valued this whole time. Just think about that. Very good. All right, Sunfire, total max health burn is going down. Not sure if this actually needs to be nerfed. They're just nerfing, they're nerfing burn cadence across the board, and they're lining them all up. So this is going to be a little bit weaker, but still, if you like need the burn, you don't have any healing reduction at the beginning of a fight, this can be still a good option to go for. Woodland Charm copy is getting buffed. They said they're going to keep tweaking this until they find the right spot. Sounds good to me. Basically, Woodland Charm right now is a free early game if you take it, and if you take it any other point in the game, it doesn't feel super great. So they're just trying to keep nudging it until it's like not crazy OP early game. It's always going to be crazy OP early game, but it is a prismatic. They want it to be able to be taken as a 2nd or 3rd augment, and you just don't feel awful about it. So they're going to keep tweaking that and try to find that balance. So step in the right direction, I suppose. Okay, Imperials. Imperials are getting buffed. I just want to get this out of the way. Imperials are getting buffed in like so many different ways, and I'm not sure if they needed to be buffed this much, because again, I think Imperials struggle with the meta and not actually, but I do think Imperials themselves do actually struggle on their own. Other than like Talon in the early game is a really big beast. But they just don't do very well in this meta. And it'd be interesting to see if there actually is a 3-cost meta coming in because of all the changes they're going to be making here, which is the thumbnail of my video. Anyways, cool. All right, let's just get into it. So Chemtech's damage reduction percentage is going down by 5% across the board, it looks like. And then Chemtech is being nerfed at 3, buffed at 5, and then it's buffed across the board but nerfed at, oh wait, it's buffed across the board except for at 3, and then they're taking down the reduction. It's because 3 Chemtech is really strong, and 5 Chemtech sucks. So I'm down with them buffing this. We'll see how this works out. Not sure what this means. Urgot is really good, but they are nerfing him. We'll see what this means, but basically right now you never want to run over 3 Chem Tech. You get almost no value at 5 Chem Tech, unless it just fits natural in your board. So I'm down with that. Oh, and then Chem Tech is getting nerfed at 3 here for the attack speed. Okay, that makes sense. And then getting nerfed at attack speed at 3. Yeah, Chem Tech 3 is really strong. So now you might actually think about going Chem Tech 5 because you actually do get some bonuses. But yeah, you go from 15 to 50%. Okay, there is actually a big jump from 3 to 5 now with the extra stats. So maybe consider going 5 Chem Tech where you're only going 3 before. Yeah, I'd give that a try. Okay, Tyrant Bonus is 75%. 75 and 125% respectively. This is 3 and 5, going to 80% and 150% respectively. Anyways, cool. So that's a buff to the Tyrant directly, and then the Imperial unit bonus is going up as well. It's going up by 5% across, 5 units. That's pretty good. That's 25% more damage to your board, and that's 25%. That's 50%. Oh, that's not how that math works out, but you get me. It's a pretty big damage jump, especially if you're going to be 3-starring a lot of your Imperials. It's 25% damage for all of your Imperials, and then an additional 25% for your girl. So that's pretty good. Okay, cool. Innovator Bear. Innovator Bear right now sucks. Even on stage 4, like stage 4 is when like the bear is supposed to pop off. That's when you're supposed to hit it now, since they made the Innovator changes, and it kind of sucks. And especially again, the Innovator Bear struggles from the combats being too quickly. The bear likes to ramp your team, especially if you have Rage Blade stackers, increases your attack speed. You play with challengers, play with Genovators, which is a little bit slower damage to come out if you're playing like 2 challengers, stuff like that. So also the bear suffers from the meta and probably needed to be buffed as well though. So 100 health buff and 10 magic resist buff right there for sure. Okay, Socialite 2 mana regen per second. A Socialite 2. The mana gen per second went down from 5 to 3. So basically just think about it like this. If the Socialite mana regen was making it to where it saved you 3 autos before you cast, it'll now save you 2 autos instead. Still going to be super strong when it makes sense to run Socialite. When the Socialite Hex is good for your comp, still keep running Socialite, going to be very good. They also buffed Seraphine for this. So yeah. Cool. Syndicate 7 bonus, amplification 33% to 50%. Not sure if this needs to be buffed. A few patches ago, this was broken. But again, the meta is just so weird right now that nothing really makes sense. That I'm not sure if this needs to be buffed. I think a lot of these changes they're making in here are scary to me because I think the meta is influencing a lot of like comp strength, unit strength, trait strength. And I think the meta is going to change quite a bit. So a lot of that is spooky to me. Okay, Yordles are getting changed a lot. This is really important that you look at this stuff. Okay, your spawn odds. This is when you actually have 3 Yordle active. It's going up on 1 cost, it's going down on 2 costs, and down on 3 costs. So basically just taking 5% from 2 and 3 costs and adding it to 1 cost. Okay, this is, if you look at this and you go, okay, this is a nerf. Kinda. Okay, there are so many different ways to play Yordles. Okay, so let's just assume that you're just going to play 3 Yordles, and let's talk about that. So if you're just playing 3 Yordles, there is a strategy where you just reroll quickly for a Ziggs and a Poppy 3, and you use those 2 3-stars in order to get you to level 8 and use the extra econ from Yordles. You just sell into everything else. You use the extra econ to get to fast 8 or fast 9, and then you just make a legendary board and you feed Ziggs to Tom Kench, and he gets a ton of AP. That is a really viable strategy, and that actually buffs that strategy. I know Tom Kench is getting nerfed, but not that much. So that's a really viable strategy, as well as if you just wanted to fast 8, fast 9, like don't even care about Tom Kench, and you can just hit these 1 costs so much easier. The other way to think about it, if you want to play 6 Yordles, it's really easy to clean your bench off and just get the 1 and 2 costs, get the 1 cost off your bench by 3-starring Poppy and Ziggs really quickly. And it doesn't matter that your odds went down on 2 and 3 costs, because once you 3-star those, you can only get 2-star and 3 costs, or 2 costs and 3 costs. So honestly, when I'm reading this, it looks like a buff to me. But if you're just running this purely to make money, no other motive, like you just want to like 1-star Yordles, then this is a nerf because you have less chance of getting more gold, which I'm down with. But if you're actually playing Yordle as a composition, or you want to put 3-star and just play 3 Yordle and then transition out, the comp is actually buffed. So I'm going to be playing a lot of Yordles next patch, I think. And then 6 Yordles mana reduction is getting buffed from 20 to 25%. Not sure. I mean, this is nice, obviously, but I I would have to look at their mana values and see if that actually like takes an auto attack off of some of them. But it definitely will during combat. Will make them cast a little bit quicker. But I'm interested to see if that actually changes like how a unit plays independently, like just the mana cost change. So, but yeah, guys, give Yordles a chance next patch if you find a good spot for it. 6 Yordles is already playable. It's just like you really got to play it when it makes sense. But honestly, I think this all buffs playing Yordles as a composition, but nerfs it as an econ trait, which I'm very down with. Okay, cool. Champions one's here. So Caitlyn is getting buff, or no, Caitlyn's getting nerfed. Oh no. They're preemptively nerfing Ligmaw's comp because they're changing, they're buffing Garen and they're like buffing Kog'Maw's early game, and so they're tentatively nerfing that Ligmaw comp because also I think they are anticipating maybe a slower meta, maybe a meta around 3 cost. So they are preemptively nerfing Caitlyn. So that kind of sucks. I like Caitlyn. Anyways, cool. Swain is getting buffed. He got nerfed a few patches ago. Went down by 5 mana. Okay, cool. Down with that. And then healing went up again. But they're basically reverting the nerf they made him before. Because they nerfed him a few patches ago when he was really strong. When Arcanists were good, the meta was a little bit slower. Now that the meta is fast and they're not good, they're buffing him. So, cool. Again, yeah. So give Imperials, give reroll Arcanists a try. Maybe next patch. I think the meta will be slower, but we'll see. Okay, as a premier carry for the Yordles, Heimerdinger. Okay, Heimerdinger is now getting 4 range. This is an insane buff. Like, this buff is cracked. This buff is crazy. And especially if Yordle 6 is going to become a real composition. Not sure if it will be. Definitely works when it works. This is really huge. They did nerf him at 1-star, but again, if you're going to be playing Yordles, you 2-star this guy so fast. So that doesn't really matter. But this is a massive buff. Heimerdinger no longer walks into CC. Very huge. Can change how you position all the time. Really big fan of that. We'll see how that goes. And this is also another reason why I'm like, oh, maybe this could be a 3-cost meta. Heimerdinger is getting buffed. All the Imperials are getting buffed. Shaco is not getting touched, and he's already good. Yeah. Okay, cool. Malzahar is actually getting nerfed at 1-star and then buffed at 3-star. Another reason to suggest a slow meta, a 3-cost meta, but we'll see. Okay, while not the strongest, Seraphine. Okay, oh yeah, Seraphine's getting buffed. Seraphine's getting buffed as a compensation because Morello is getting nerfed. She's a very good Morello user. So she's going down by 10 mana and also the nerf Socialite. So she's getting compensation buffs. Up in damage at all ranks. All ranks. Cool. You know, I don't know what this is going to mean for the meta, but again, if we have a slow meta, Seraphine is very good in a slow meta, so I'm not sure if she actually needs to get buffed, but that really depends on what happens in the meta. As a unit, as a whole, probably needs to get buffed because Morello and Omicron is getting nerfed, and she's a really good Morello user, but again, if we do have a slow meta, Seraphine's very good in that, so we'll see. Okay, Urgot now counts as a basic attack every 2-shot, and now is going to 3-shot instead of 2-shot, so I believe he was doing like 1.5 autos per second, and now he's doing a little bit less. The key thing is he's going to proc Shiv less often. He's going to proc Runeans less often. Basically what they're trying to do is they're trying to nerf Urgot's reliance on certain items. His best item should still be Runeans, but they're trying to make it to where if you end up having suboptimal items, you can still play Urgot because Urgot is very good. They don't want to nerf him directly, but they want to nerf his specific item interaction, which I'm really down with. I'm really a big fan of this type of balancing. I'm really a big fan when 4 costs have items that they excel with, but aren't OP with. And then the other items that fit into their tree, they just do, they do fine with. A good example of this is like Yone with Runeans versus not having Runeans. I think like Yone has a problem with that item. I'm a big fan whenever champions get a little bit closer to being able to use all of the AD items, but use certain ones, like not significantly, but better. You know, I'm a big fan of that. So I do like that changed. Urgot will still be good, and they buff 5 Chemtech. It's really easy to fit 5 Chemtech with Urgot. Actually, really easy to fit that in. So cool. Okay, Kaiser. Oh, these are all going to be legendaries. Okay, cool. So Galio's critical slam bonus damage, critical strike slam bonus damage is going down. That's when he's auto attacking. Okay, yeah, they really don't want Galio to be a DPS. He should still actually deal a decent amount of damage because this is the magic damage, right? Cool. Colossal. Oh yeah, his entrance is getting buffed at 1 star, which is really nice. This is the base stun duration. It can go up, obviously. Yeah, because Galio 1 is kind of tough, but Galio 2 is an absolute hoss. So they really want to make Galio more of a frontliner instead of a damage dealer, but you can still itemize him with damage items if it makes sense. Okay, Kaiser is going down by 50 health. That's actually somewhat meaningful. A Cathian Rain, or not Cathian Rain, is that what it's called? Going down by 10. This is actually more than just 10 because the way Kaiser works, she makes more missiles as she progresses through the fight. So this is actually pretty significant nerf, even though it's 10. Mana being nerfed. This is exactly where I wanted to see a Kaiser nerf, because the reason why Kaiser is OP, if you don't know, I mean, she deals a lot of damage and is good, like just based off her thing. But the reason why she's OP is because Morello, and she has such high base mana, she casts extremely fast. So they're taking on her base mana. This is exactly where I thought she would get nerfed. Very cool. Kaiser should still be good, guys. Still a good Morello user. But hopefully this will be enough of a nerf to make it to where you don't make it to where a meta isn't just like in the early game into a Kaiser, into a Kaiser Tahm Kench lottery. Hopefully this is enough to do that. Okay, Tahm Kench Devour damage reduction. So whenever he has someone in his belly, is going down by 10%. Cool, definitely needed to be nerfed. I love Tahm Kench in unit. I think he's so cool. I think everyone loves playing Tahm Kench. Tahm Kench will still be good, and I still think fast 9ing or fast 8ing will still be a viable strategy for Tahm Kench and probably for Kaiser. But again, a lot of things could happen with the meta. But if you really like that playstyle, you could probably still keep doing that next patch, even if the meta becomes different. I think you could still do that. I don't think this is enough to change that, as well as with if you play like the Ziggs into Tahm Kench, that strategy actually got buffed, except for Tahm Kench getting nerfed directly. Okay, so here's some item changes. GA health on a revive is going down from 400 to 250. Okay, that's actually really meaningful early game if you slam this as an early game slam. A lot of people build this early game because they know they want it late game. Insane item late game. This health value might actually matter on units like Fiora. You know, sometimes she reses and she just like 1v9s, like legit 1v9s. So this actually be meaningful on a unit like that. And it will be somewhat meaningful on all the other units. But really the reason why GA is OP is because the interaction of champions that are able to cast their abilities while they're in GA, like Urgot, like Fiora, like Kaiser, Tahm Kench, stuff like that. So this does not change that. GA will still be a really insane item if those units are good. Yone, stuff like that. But definitely, yeah, it's nicer to be brought down a little bit because GA is the best item in the game, behind Morello and Omicron, who's getting its burn cadence down by 5%. Okay, this is not the burn cadence, but this is the true damage burn. Guys, all right, this is a nice little nerf for sure, but you guys know the reason why Morello is OP. It's OP because you can apply it so easily with like Kaiser, with like TF, you know, in the early game, stuff like that. Lysandra, there's so many good users, especially in the late game. That's why it's strong. So Morello will still be a good item, and there's a lot of healing, like Kimtex, like Yone, like Fiora. So there's a lot of good reason to have Morello on your board. I'm down for the damage getting taken down a little bit, and all the users that are OP on this last patch got nerfed. Morello still going to be a super good item, still probably one of the best items in the game. So don't stop building Morello. Going to be very good. Okay, RFC has gone up. It's attack speed by 10%. Basically, you don't build RFC on anybody on purpose. So they're just giving it some extra stats. Very cool. I will still never build this item on purpose. But if you do accidentally have to build it, not too bad, right? It's good on Shaco. It's good on Urgot. Sure, there's more. It's basically like you start out with like 4 Rage Blade attacks. So could be good on like Victor, stuff like that, you know. This item is fine as like an item that you put if like, you know, you have to. But I wonder if this is enough to make it to where you build it on purpose, like someone like Urgot. But no, Urgot has too many other good items like GA Runan's Giant Slayer, stuff like that. So yeah, I don't think this is enough, but you know, if you end up having to build RFC, it'll feel a little bit better. Okay, Sunfire Cape proc is just going down to match this. But they are, oh no, wait. They're changing the cadence to where it procs faster because they're nerfing the burn cadence, and Sunfire Cape is not performing very well as an item, but they're buffing the burn cadence so it'll apply to more units. So but the burn damage is going down. I will be considering building this item a little bit more often. Basically on the current patch, I never build it, but in comps that it makes sense, I might consider building it like on a Vex or something like that because the tick rate is a little bit faster, and that is actually pretty nice for for comps that don't utilize Morello super well. Cool. ZZ Rot. Basically, if you don't know, ZZ Rot is really good early game, and then basically, unless you're running a stall comp, it's essentially a useless item late game, except for just to hold assassins or buy you a couple seconds. But early game, it's really OP. It's 1500 health added to your board, right? And a unit. Basically like having a Woodland Charm, but you have to expend an item for it. So it's getting buffed by 100 on stage 3 and 200 on stage 4 and almost 300. 250 right here on stage 5. I will be testing out playing a lot of ZZ Rots, and especially guys, if you like to fast, if you like to go fast, fast 8, fast 9, maybe consider starting a belt start and building either a Morello or Sunfire plus with a ZZ Rot. I'll be trying out that strategy just to see how it goes. Yeah, ZZ Rot. Let's try it out. Okay, Augments. These are small changes for Augments. Shrug It Off is getting buffed. When I was watching the devs, they're like, everyone's trolling saying this augment is terrible, but we're going to buff it anyways because it actually performs well in the data. Just like... It needed to be buffed. I'm not even going to talk about it. It needed to be buffed. There's Morello in every single comp. And if you actually do the math on the units, just do the math on your own. You do not heal very much. It sucks. I'm sure it's fine sometimes, but like if you're playing in high elo or even just like diamond, honestly, right now, if you're just playing in like diamond or something, there's literally Morello in every single comp. So I don't know how you're supposed to play the game. And that Morello nerf is not going to make Morello not an item anymore because things like Shrug It Off exist and things like Chemtex exist and Yone and Fiora exist. Things that you need to cut healing. So, and there's tons of good users. So Shrug It Off sucks, guys. And this is not enough to do that. But if no one's putting Morello in your lobby, you have bruisers, take it. I mean, when I have bruisers, I still take it if there's nothing else better, but it does not feel good. Okay, Shadow Bomb. Tooltip now properly reflects the damage reduction applied to the excess damage from the instance of damage that triggers the stealth. Okay, that's a tooltip change. Okay, whatever. Damage reduction is getting nerfed a little bit. Okay. Sunfire board and Weak Spot are no longer mutually exclusive. Oh, if you had Sunfire board, you couldn't get Weak Spot? Oh, okay. Cool. It's because they both take healing away. But they kind of do very different things. So I feel like they should be offered together. Or they can be offered together. Okay, Metamorphosis is getting buffed because this is the worst performing trait in the data. Is getting the damage is going up by looks like 100%. We'll see how that goes. Give it a try if you like playing those. And also Cogmon is getting changed a little bit. So I don't know. Give it a try if you like playing mutants. Right now, basically, no one plays Metamorphosis mutants. So maybe give it a try. Especially, again, if we have this slow 3-cost meta, then it could be a little bit much better. Okay, cool. Garen is getting buffed. Graves is getting... honestly, this is like a buff if you want to play Graves as an item holder. Because they are changing his mana a lot. He'll cast a lot more often. He'll just cast a little bit... Or no, wait. Oh, it's still 50. This is a buff. This is a buff. He will cast a lot more often. So if you want to play him as an item holder... This is a nice buff to him, as well as if you want to play reroll like Garen, stuff like that. But I wouldn't play that comp. And they're nerfing Kassadin. So I wouldn't play that comp. But yeah, if you do want to play it, then it's buffed. Hey, maybe that comp will be good if the meta is slower. But right now it's not very good because the meta has too much damage. Okay, anyways, that's a stall comp. All right, Alawi dealing a little bit more damage. And is healing a bit more at 3-star. Cool. No one plays 3-star Alawi unless you get the 3-loaded dice start. So this is a nice buff to that strategy. But other than that, no one plays 3-star Alawi. So who cares? Kassadin down by 5%. The duration is up though. Huh. I wonder what that means for him. It looks like a power neutral change, but probably a nerf. Looks more like a nerf, but kind of close to a power neutral change. Anyways, all right. Twist of Fate wildcard damage is getting buffed as a compensation for Morello getting changed. That is his best item. When I look at this change, I like playing reroll TF, but it's just like, again, it's another comp that damage comes out kind of slow. It's hard to hit units like Kaiser, who's flying around the map. If the meta does actually get slower and is more of a front to back meta, more of a 3-cost based meta, then I would give reroll syndicates a try. for sure. Damage TF syndicates. I love playing reroll syndicates. I think it's pretty good comp. It's just not very good in the last meta. Maybe it'll be good in this meta. So if you guys like playing reroll syndicates, give it a try. Cool. Kog'Maw is getting, it's going to be 888 across the board. I'm never a big fan of the numbers not being different at different ranks because I just like the idea of progressing. But instead you just get the stat bonus and the, instead you just get the stat bonus and stuff. So, but they're buffing Kog'Maw 1, Kog'Maw 2 is the same, and they're nerfing Kog'Maw 3. They really don't want this reroll comp to be dominating the meta if the meta ends up being slow. So that's why they're changing this. But they want Kog'Maw to be a little bit better as an item holder, or when you get it from, Twin Shot, if you feel a little bit better about going for it. Because right now, Twin Shot and Twin Shot Crest and stuff like that is not very good to take early game. So they're trying to make that a little bit more viable option. I'm fine with that. Cool. Talon is getting buffed. They're buffing this because they want Imperials to be a thing, obviously. And Imperials are not doing well. But Talon is the most broken early game unit already. He's probably the best unit in the game to start the game out with. Just purely from a unit strength standpoint with no synergies. So I'm not sure if he need to get changed, but he does fall off quite a bit. This isn't enough to make Talon the main carry of Imperials, but just it feels a little bit better if you end up 3-starring him and putting some random items on him feel a little bit better. Zillion bomb slow duration is getting buffed. Not sure if Zillion needs to get buffed. They said they buffed him just lore-wise. It makes sense for him to be buffed because he is the Time Lord. And I guess he was not performing super well today, but that's probably compounding because of Innovators not being good. I'm not sure if he need to get buffed, but, I like Zillion. It's fine with me. Cool. Okay, a couple of Morello compensation buffs. Echo is getting a slight damage buff just to help him do a little bit more damage. And Lissandra's doing the same thing because they're getting compensated because they clearly use Morello super well. I think Lissandra and Echo are both in a decent spot. Again, guys, with these buffs, though, a little bit of damage buff. I mean, Morello is getting nerfed, so it's the same. But, guys, 3 costs are all getting buffed. And the 3 costs that are good aren't getting nerfed. So like Shaco, stuff like that. So anyways, all right, Samira is getting buffed by 50 health. Vex is getting buffed by 50 health. I remember all of the units are getting buffed in Samira's tree, as well as all of them are getting buffed, as well as now Quinn will show up on Challenger Emblem. Quinn is very good for Samira comp. A lot of times you 3-star Quinn, buys you a lot of time. And then also they're buffing the unit directly and they're buffing Imperials. So just keep that in mind. Vex is getting buffed as well. That's a nice buff to 6 Yordles. That's a nice buff to Arcanus reroll. That's a nice buff to if you're running, if you're doing an Arcanus like Swain Vex reroll. Even if you end up running Scholars and you play Vex as a frontliner, you actually do that sometimes when it makes sense. So nice little buff there. So again, everything buffing for a 3-cost meta, it looks like. Orianna, max mana buff. She's going to cast more often. Also a unit that benefits from a slow meta. Okay, guys, I keep making these assumptions like it's going to be a slow meta. It's going to be a 3-cost meta. I am just reading the changes, and that's what all of them are saying. I'm not. This might not happen because a lot of times meta are just decided by what people play. Also, things that are completely untouched could just like show up to be OP, or things from last patch could still be strong, right? But the point I'm trying to make is all of these changes are suggesting a slow meta or a 3-cost front to back based meta, which would also be a slow meta if it was 3-cost based. Because units like Samira, her damage comes out a little bit slower. Shaco has to do 1x1, right? Heimerdinger has to hit the front line. He has to ramp. He's very similar to Karma. So yeah. Anyways, that's why I say the meta would be slow if it was 3-cost. Yone is getting nerfed. Okay. All right, anyways, hold on. Let's look at Scion first. Buffed. Buffed at 1-star. And they're buffing his damage a little bit at 1-star. Okay, that's fine. Okay, who cares? The stun duration is nice, for sure. Especially if you're going to play 5 Imperial. Don't know why Yone is getting nerfed. I guess maybe they're anticipating challengers will be decent because like Fiora's not getting nerfed and she's already pretty good. And then Kaiser's still going to be good. I think they're thinking the fights will be a little bit slower now, like how I'm suggesting. So Yone really benefits from a slower fight. It gives them time to ramp up, gives them time to get through the front line and stuff, and so they can just focus on back line. Especially if you're playing 2 challenger, it takes them a little bit longer to kill everybody. Yeah, I'm not sure why Yone is getting nerfed. I don't know. Okay, anyways, Victor getting buffed. I think that's compensation because they're nerfing Kimtech 3, they're nerfing Socialite 2, and they are also and Victor was just not performing quite as well as like Kaiser, stuff like that. So honestly, I'm fine with that. I don't mind Victor being strong. Cool. Chalice of Power is going up. Very down with this. This item is very hard to build, and I love Chalice stacking. So I'm not sure if this is going to change anything, but I'm really down to build this item. I love building this item. Okay, Static Shiv is going down by 5% attack speed. I mean, that's a nice little nerf. This item is very OP for like getting fast 8, getting fast 9, and if you're playing an AP comp, just a decent item and a good way to throw away a bow. Static Shiv is a good item. If you're not playing Static Shiv, you're sleeping. This isn't going to change anything though. This item's still going to be good. Cool. Okay, items. They already put this easy rot portal thing. Okay, bug fixes. Okay, bug fixes actually matter. If you get to this point in the video and you click off, don't click off. Bug fixes matter. Okay, internal winter no longer applies temporary visual effects below the units when frozen. Okay. Fix an issue where Garen with blue buff would stop gaining mana in rare situations. Okay, I'm not sure anyone's building blue buff on Garen, but that's cool. Frozen Heart generated by Scrap will now properly remove its attack speed slow when the holder dies. That's hilarious that it wasn't before, but that's cool. Caitlyn's and Fiora's abilities will now properly cast when targeting an invulnerable unit. Oh, okay. Their ability would fizzle if it was someone who's immune. Okay, yeah, I remember hearing that on their patch rundown. Okay, yeah, cool. That's a good quality of life change. Double up. Oh, I don't give a fuck about double up. But there will now always be a winning team visible. Oh, okay. That's fixing the thing. The in-screen thing. Players no longer continually take massive damage after surrendering. It just in double up. Okay. Who cares? Seraphine tooltip now specifies that she casts at a largest group of enemy units. Does it not specify that? Because I feel like it did on PvE. I remember reading it. But cool. That doesn't change her at all. Academy of Hearts tooltip now states that it grants a Katarina. I think they said that it was already granting a Katarina. It just didn't say it on the tooltip. So I do remember that being weird. Jinx no longer incorrectly burns enemies for 2.5% of their max health. Instead, a 2% at 1 star. Oh, so she got nerfed. Okay, Jinx tooltip now properly reflects that she burns 2, 3, and 4 max health per second rather than 2, 2.5, and 3%. This isn't a change there, but she did get nerfed here for no reason. Jinx is okay. All right, in 11.24, we intended to nerf melee Jace. Oh yeah, they nerfed Jace, melee Jace, but it ended up not going through, and then they're like, okay, we're happy that it didn't go through. So that's what this is. So Jace is unchanged. If you like playing Jace as a frontliner last patch, it should feel exactly the same. Okay, so what are some things I'm looking out for this patch? Some things that I'm looking out for is all of the changes they made, all of the changes and lack of changes they made to 3 costs. They buffed all of the weak 3 costs. Just look at this. Look, buff. Wait, what? Oh, they didn't put all the units on there. Okay, yeah, so that won't be useful. they buffed Samira. They buffed Heimerdinger. Why is Heimerdinger not on here for like a big highlight? That's a huge buff. They buffed Heimerdinger. They buffed Samira. They buffed Swain. They buffed Talon. They buffed Imperial. They buffed Yordles as a composition. They buffed who else they buff? And then they didn't change. They didn't nerf like Trundle comp, right? They didn't nerf Trundle. They didn't nerf Shaco. Not that they needed nerfs. They didn't nerf Shaco. So there's a lot of things to suggest that those could be good. They nerfed all of the legendaries that were dominating the meta. Oh, they buffed Malzahar at 3-star, which is the reroll version, right? They buffed Vex. They buffed Innovator Bear. They buffed, which is a mid-game comp as well. They buffed Seraphine as a compensation for her nerfs, which would help a slower meta. They buffed Enchanter stuff, the Enchanter augment, which would benefit a slower meta. They buffed Orianna, which would benefit a slower meta. So things I'm going to be looking out for is if there is a new slower combat meta on the horizon or a 3-cost meta. That's what I'm predicting. Not sure if it'll actually happen. Maybe the nerfs to previous strategies aren't big enough, or maybe there's secret strategies that haven't came out yet. But if I was a betting man, I would bet on either a 3-cost based meta, or a slow, a more front to back based combat meta, probably around 4 cost. So I think the meta is going to be either around 4 cost, playing the game a little bit slower, 4 cost and legendaries, of course, but more around 4 cost than last patch. Or the meta is going to be really focused around 3 cost, which, you know, if you like 3 cost meta or not like 3 cost meta, I kind of like 3 cost meta. It's very relaxing, but, you know, people could say it's not very skill expressive, but who cares? Some items I'm looking at ZZ Rot. I'm looking at ZZ Rot. I'm looking at ZZ Rot. That's the item I'm looking. I'm looking at ZZ Rot and Sunfire. I'm going to consider building those to maybe get to a fast 8 or something like that. We'll see how that goes. Anyways, all right, guys, that's going to be it for the video. Hope you guys learned some cool stuff about the new patch. Hope you guys are excited about the patch. If you're excited about something about the new patch, let me know in the comment section. It'd be very cool to see what everyone is excited about. I'm excited about just playing not legend. I hate fast legendary metas. I used to like them because I think that they are pretty skill expressive to a certain degree. It's so boring, man. I basically just not played this patch. I let my account decay to nothing, and I've just been, when I do play, I just like, I don't know, reroll MF for fun, stuff like that. Also, MF didn't get changed. Reroll MF's not bad. So that's another 3 cost. Anyways, okay, cool. That's gonna be it, guys. I hope you guys learned a lot. Hope you guys have a good night, have a good day, and wherever you are, I just hope you're doing well. All right, see you guys. Bye.